City Council meeting. I would like to read a statement that's prepared, and then followed by, after that, I'll be reading the invitation by Chaplain John Butler from Conover Christian Church, followed by our pledge of allegiance. So I'll read my statement first. Before I call this meeting to order, I want to acknowledge our neighbors across our community and country who are hurting and angry regarding the recent events of George Floyd and many senseless acts of brutality against people of color. I've been personally and deeply disturbed. I want you to know, as mayors, your lives matter. I take racial relations seriously. The Conover Police Department is a nationally accredited agency and uses best industry practices to maintain peace and promote safety in our community. Our law enforcement officers receive hundreds of hours of additional training, which is well above what is required for an average department. I'm thankful for the service our Conover Police Department provides under the leadership of Chief Eric Lofton, and want to thank them publicly for being professional and compassionate towards all citizens of Conover. I'm praying for peace in our nation and intentionally seeking ways to better ally the people of color. I encourage you to reflect and join me. Thank you. Please stand. Let us pray. Most loving and merciful God, in whose principles we find our guidance, in whose love we find our healing and joy, in whose will we find our peace, and grant us silent apart so that we can all grow. We assemble here this evening. We ask that you grant wisdom to guide our mayor, city council, city manager, and all those that lead the city's different departments. With all those that serve our police department, fire department, and public works, and protect them. Protect all those that serve in our nation's military. Use them as instruments of peace. Help our nation during this time of struggle in this pandemic. Intervene with divine providence, guide us, and help us navigate these challenging times. I pray for the spirit and peace and rest for our land. We ask all these things in your precious and mighty name. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Council. You've got the package this time in your minutes. Are there any items, any members who would like to remove anything from the consent agenda for discussion? If none, we'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make the motion to approve it.
Second, Mr. Bill. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion has carried. Item 5 is not.
The planning board recognize Mr. Tillman who's here tonight. Will be a new appointee.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Item 5 is comments from our visitors and guests. If you're here on behalf of concerns you have that you'd like to share with the city council, possibly here, maybe one of the public meetings, there'll be a time during our meetings to speak at that time on that matter. But if you're here for any other matter, any general matter that you'd like to speak to your council, if you'll just come forward, please, and state your name and address for the public record, and please limit your time for the courtesy of all those here. If you'd like to come forward, let's hear from you this time. Good evening, sir.
Thank you. My name is Charlie Brown, live at 1523 Running Deer Drive, Northwest, here in Regular City. I've got two things that I'm on my mind I'd like to address.
Yes.
Number one being, are we going to ever get back on a planned schedule for yard waste pickup, grass clippings and things like that. I talked, and I'm very, very proud of our city public works department. They have always done a great job. Just wondering if we can get back on the schedule so that we know when they're gonna come to pick up grass clippings, leaves and stuff like that with the big vacuum truck.
Yes.
And, it's killing the grass on my side of the street and the neighbors who having to wait. It's been 2 weeks now since they picked up. I understood, I talked with, the department head down there on a telephone call, and he explained that they were running a little short-handed because of various things, I'm sure probably the pandemic deal. But, I'd like to, again say that I'm very, happy with what they've been doing in the past, been great. Have a problem, call them, address it, tell you what you need to do and so forth. And another thing that, I'd really like to know is the new city automobile tax. I've got 2 cars and a pickup truck, and, I'd like to know how much money we're getting out of that deal, because this costs me $90 a year. And, I don't know how many vehicles are in, it's, you know, in the city that, have to pay that, but, number one, I don't understand it, I think it's an unfair tax. And I'd like to know how much money the city is getting out of that.
Appreciate your comment.
Yes, sir.
Number one, on the debris, this
I'd be glad to address that, Mr. Mayor, if you will. As most of you know, during the COVID, we, went on modified schedule so that we could guarantee that if we were to get an outbreak, that we would have enough people here to take care of citizens of Conover. So we reduced our staff vacancy to about 50% when we went on Monday or went off. We did that for 30 days. We've been back on regular schedule for almost 2 weeks now. So we've ramped back up. We've had 2 areas that took a while to get caught back up on. One of them was the small debris, like we're talking about, the vacuum debris. The other was the real large pile of slush. Hopefully by the end of the week, they'll be pretty much caught up with that. They did pretty good, Friday. They got caught up pretty well Friday. This is non-recycle week. So non-recycle week, we can pick up a whole lot more yard debris than we can during the regular recycling week. It's a good week for them to get caught up, and I feel comfortable with that. They will. And we appreciate everybody working with us,
Well, as I said, I retired from the telephone company down in Georgia in '96, moved to Conover in '97, and we found a home. My wife and I both love this little area, and we're really happy with everything 99.9% of the time. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your support.
Yes, the city collects $239,000 a year estimated on the taxes and for new vehicles. There are, 79,000 of that goes for the transit system, and that's a state mandated law. You collect $80 of it, the first 10 must go to public transit, and then the remaining $20 goes to paving, only goes to paving owned by state law.
So over the last 3 years, Mr. Clark, how many streets have we paved in the city,
How many streets have we paid total?
using the $30?
Oh, probably total, we do on average about 10 a year, with the amount of money that we budget as a whole. And that includes money that we also get from capital funds, which is the revenue you get from gas tax.
That's what that's about.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Anyone else here, like to love to hear from you. Good job.
We close the public comment, so
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Second, Mr. Wolrine. All in favor, say aye. Mr. Henry. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, good to see you. This move there. Item 6 is a presentation of North Carolina Finance Officer certificate to Ms. Lori Martin. Council, You'd like to join me out down front? And Shirley, Roger, come hold. Don't do it. How are you? This is an exciting time, and I know I'm going to talk from the big year. That's what I'm going to tell me, and I work together with the secretary, so we're all proud of you. Thank you for the hard work. How many years?
When I've been here,
No, how many years?
oh, that took about 4, 5, I
Thank you for your, appreciate it. North Carolina Government Finance Officers Association, this is certified Lori W. Conner, has demonstrated the finance officers certificate committee professional experience and knowledge in the area of local government, finance, and therefore is qualified for the period of 1 January 2020 to December 31st, 2024 as a certified local government finance officer. Congratulations on that, trustee. Thank you so much for everything you do. Appreciate you sharing with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Item 7 is a public hearing. Mr. Dunn,
Yeah, we've received a request for a voluntary annexation for Sunday property located on Fourth Street Southwest, or not Fourth Southwest, Fourth Street Southwest. This is, almost direct adjacent to the public work facility, right off the street. You'll remember this was a significant coastal area, bisected Black Creek, 3 lots. The property owner has requested to annex this in and will, create a new subdivision of 2 lots for 2 double-wide mobile homes. It's a significant upgrade to the property and to the neighborhood that's there. And I don't know if there's anyone here to speak, probably by phone, we need to, they couldn't go inside. So, with this action, if an ordinance follows, we'll be annexing 1.8 acres into the city adjacent to city property.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. This is public hearing. If anyone's here tonight, like to speak on behalf of this item, we would love to hear from you at this time. Just come forward and state your name and address for public record. Please come.
And council information certificate, this was addressed last council meeting and added to friend. I don't believe we received any comment from the public prior to this meeting. Main reason for annexation, they like to question on city utility.
Madam Clerk, public hearing.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Second, Mr. Bill.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bill, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion has carried. Thank you. And ordinance 2520. Mr. Dunn.
Mayor, members of council, this will annex the 1.8 acres described here yet. Located off Fourth Street Southwest, and immediately adjacent to the city property.
How was this be done?
I do not know the current zone on that.
R20? R20?
Yeah, ETJ R20.
They will be, they want to live.
Correct.
But the plan is to have it remain R20?
Yes.
Any more discussion on ordinance 2520?
Move we approve it.
Second. Albright. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion has carried. Item 9 is a public hearing. Mr. Dunn.
Mayor, members of council, we have another public hearing for voluntary annexation. This would be a piece of property that does not adjoin the city, but is, very close, it would be a small satellite annexation, just off the Long Road. That's line, very detailed map. If you look there, you have, Rock Farm Country Club with the oaks and the laurels. And then just at the bottom of the map, you'll see the crook of Rockmore Road. And just off that, we have, the Rockmore Pump Station #2, and what we call the solar panel field that was installed by New Properties, say 3 years ago now. That was probably the last time we were out here in the area. And so this is where the bridge is in the curve. So you come around Steep Curve, take the immediate left up Ship Road. This is a lot that has been, has some dirt moved off of it, and it's motion covered, cut to at this time. The site family is looking to purchase this, and they're here with us. And, the future plans, we don't have a set of plans yet, but the discussions have been to create housing on this property. And then if you annex it in, you'll have to go require to assign it a zone, the city designation, because it's currently zoned as Cobb County. I believe it's R40, all there. And you know, we'll either go out to speak or, and I believe there's another gentleman here like Conover as well, so whoever gets to get part.
Okay, we have the developers here, but
If you want to state your name for the record, sir, and your address, so we have it. I think Roy has gotten it earlier.
Richard Reese, 3015 Levine Lane. I own a piece of property at the end, the whole 700 acres right there.
With
I know he probably is is this a,
this area here,
no, they're right there.
okay?
That area right there. The road that goes up Fairview, first road there, is a private road. And really what I want to do is make sure that everybody knows that that's a private road, that they cannot use that road. The other road there, Carbon, is a partially maintained state road. And it ends 275 feet from that property. So that is, 275 feet is a private road, so it's not accessible to that road, okay? So that's what they gotta use, they gotta come out on Rock Barn or Shook Town. And, it is a pretty dangerous road, to be honest with you. It's getting out on because of the curves. And so whatever they do, they're gonna have to make sure that they have their, everything in right order. They might even have to lower the speed limit there or to get out there. Because you got 50 lots that they propose in there, you talk about 100 cars and in and out 2 different times a day. So that's a lot of traffic that you're throwing right on that property. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew that those 2 roads were not available for traffic because they're actually private roads.
Mr. Lyons, you want to comment on this?
Yeah, the road, I agree with, Mr. Reeves about this road. Now, this road is a DOT track, it's a DOT runway.
It ends, if you go out there and look, it ends 275 feet from the property.
Well, it may require improvement.
Well, they didn't take that,
Don't
they
need to
did not take that.
There'll have to be some sort of,
It ends right there, right there.
well, there would be title search and that kind of stuff to ascertain whether or not that road can be extended or improved in any way and used as part of the subdivision, but you might end up rewriting. We just don't have a plan right now.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reed, I appreciate that, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Cody Sight, 1338 Ball Street Road. And me and my brother, this is, I guess, our brainchild. And one thing that's led us to this is just the people have nowhere to live in Cobb County. We're in a deficit of housing. I've got a brother-in-law that works for the city of Conover Fire. They moved to Alexander County, because they couldn't find living qualities here that they want. So I guess I didn't really take it upon myself, but we are a grading company. We do grading. We do clearing, we do all of that, road bed and everything. And I've got some really good friends that they said, you know, maybe you need to try something new, some development, and that's where this came up. We do a lot of work in Charlotte. We build a lot of roads. We do a lot of developments in Charlotte. But I'd really like to move back home a little bit closer to home and do the same thing that Charlotte's getting here. And let's make it happen here in Catawba County. Because, you know, I'm young. I'm 32. My brother's 27. There's just no help for the people our age. They're having it rough, finding a place, you know. They want a nice house, but they don't want to live in slums, so that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting to be able to create a quality living experience for these people that are our age.
Anybody else like to speak? None of the brothers want to speak? Nope. I got it. I got it.
I have a question about the private roads. I understand about traffic, but that doesn't apply to emergency vehicles, would it? If this were developed?
So if it's a private road, then they would have to be granted access by the private property owners. Whereas, DOT has right of way on the other street that would be a secondary access.
But as far as fire and police, that wouldn't have any effect. Fire and police.
If there's no access,
Okay.
there's no connection, there's no plan to be a connection on the property.
I guess my question is that little section right down there, he says stops 275 feet short. Somebody needs to go find out who owns it, I guess, and start talking to them.
That would be up to DOT and the title search.
So that's, you can see property on both sides of it, I presume.
Well, matter of fact, the lady around that owns the last house there, and she was opposed, she was at the zoning meeting, and she was opposed of them using that road. So the road is not gonna be used. They just would have to come out somehow else on Rock Barn or Shiptown.
This is the part of the public hearing. Anybody else would like to speak? Hear from this time, it's not closed. Good, we close the public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Bill. I have a second on that. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Payne. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion has carried. Item 10 is the ordinance. Mr. Klein.
Mayor, that's that ordinance to approve the annexation of this property.
And if you would, if you understand, I put a question.
Yeah.
It's in everybody's mind. How will that be dealt with if we approve this?
Well, in our subdivision process that we have in the code, any subdivision is reviewed by the site plan review committee. We do include the DOT if needed to use their road, so in this case we would. We'll have fire, we'll have police part of that, public works, of course, and we'll review access. At that time, if the sites feel that they have a right to that road, we'll know about it. They'll include a connection up there. And if they don't, you know, they may not need a connection there, frankly. It depends on scale of how many homes are proposed with a single entrance. So there might be a couple of ways to resolve this.
That's my question. If the roads remain private, are you gonna be able to develop that the way you want?
Yes.
So keeping them private is not gonna hinder your development.
Well, the road to the south and the east is not private. It is a state-owned maintained road.
The first one?
Correct, the one further south here. It is just, it's not over right of way from the edge of the property line. Yeah, that's a private road, that's all they road, yeah. So it's, like in many cases, we have another right of way all in the city. So that would be up to DOT and the developer, something in that right of way. That would require title work to make sure they have the right of way.
So, I guess, to clarify, if we approve this, there's still other steps that have to be certain. Done. So,
Yeah.
so Mr. Reed will have his question confirmed and answer that.
Yeah, there's a process for subdivision. We're at the beginning stage of annexation and then assigning our jurisdiction over the property. So it'll be-
Does your property come all the way to, Lockhorn Road? There's a sliver there?
I think there's,
No, it's coming down here to Lockhorn Road.
There's a remnant that's left over from, that property that DOT modified the road, Eric Clayton, our gas coordinator, discovered that, and it's a sliver of property that's left over.
Who owns that?
Right away. One, this piece here goes with this track.
Jim Carter owns that piece of property.
And, now, this where the solar farm is?
So farm right here.
Okay.
And then there's a little sliver here that is the DOT right away. It's a little sliver, it's a few feet wide. And then this large one goes to this track.
Oh.
It appears to be left over from a road that I'm on.
No, I think that's true, yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2620, any other questions for Mr. Klein regarding the annexation?
I'll move with approve ordinance 26-20.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Second, Ms. Full. Any further discussion or
This
questions?
will be a satellite annexation.
Thank you. Correct, it is a satellite, that is not.
Satellite annexation.
Okay.
Question?
This is going to the annexation, this is not the one.
Yeah, we have got there.
In the middle of the game.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion has carried. Thank you. Item 11 is a public hearing. Mr. Klein.
thank you, Mayor. It doesn't happen very often that you bring a property into the city and don't already have some zoning on it. A lot of it is in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. This one happens not to be. So we did review what's permitted in that area, and we considered what would be a suitable type of use out there, and what would be the closest Conover zoning. With the interest of the site brothers of single-family development, and with the kind of the nature across the way with Rock Barn of being also R9A, sometimes they've come here for special approval of, master planning and that sort of thing, but basically it's a product over there of single-family homes with some other options. Staff felt that R9A would be the most appropriate. It's residential, single-family residential. It does not permit mobile homes, and it does not permit duplexes. So it is meant to be a single-family neighborhood, is what that is. We did take it to the planning board. There was a lot of conversation from community members who were concerned about access coming through the neighborhood, just as Mr. Reese pointed out. And most of that is, some of it was scale, right? So some of these homes, like Mr. Reese, I think he said he had 7 acres plus, other people have 2 acres. Well, these won't be that big, right? So when we're doing single family, we're probably doing half-acre lots. So it's a different scale for some folks, but it's our best fit, I think, for this proposal. And the other concern is just access through neighborhood or not, even using Rock Farm Road.
Do you feel like the use that you're recommending here actually protects this rental property?
I do. It's a very nice neighborhood up on the hill, no doubt about it. This should complement that and be an addition to our city limit. And these smaller homes are, over time, there's been a lot of study, chambers, folks from the COG, that these are starter homes. This is exactly what we need here for families who begin their career here in Conover, which is what we want, and raise their family in our community. So that would be the goal of a project like this.
Thanks, Mr. Clark. Appreciate it.
One or two of the things on this property.
Yes, sir.
We have sewer right along Strong here, it goes down to, if I remember right, our pump station says private use. It pumps back over to the old treatment plant. And then we have water along the road. And, we have a lot of water in this area here too. We don't, we just turn it up. So, right.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anybody's here to speak on behalf of this particular item? We'd like to hear from this time. Just come forward, state your name and address for the public record. No, I'll wait a minute. Thank you, Bill. Second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion has carried. 2720, this time?
Yes, thank you. This is a basic district zoning. There's no plan, of course. So it's just general zoning in our ordinance, and there's an ordinance to support that. There is a motion to approve, but it's basically following the format we've just been discussing. Planning board supported the change and recommend approval to the council.
Yeah, so we would expect, major subdivision to come back to this board fall or sometime later.
2720.
Then we approve what's difficult.
Thank you, sir.
Special
And, whoever second, will second that, Mr. Hammond, read that?
I'll second. The motion is read. I move to approve the rezoning request R20-03 for the property at Shook Road and Rock Barn Road, Tyler County, R30, to R9A residential single-family district, along with the expansion of the future land use map to this newly annexed area, and find that the request is reasonable and is in the public interest because, one, the initial zoning of land to R9A is compatible with the residential character of the surrounding community. Two, the application is aligned with the land development plan because it will allow the city to grow, expand the territory, infrastructure, and population.
Exactly what I said.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Site President, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming back home and, welcome Bill. Either one of you related to Harvey or Richard? Right?
Not to another.
Okay.
Randy's our dad.
Oh, okay.
Randy Lee? Yep.
I work for Harvey site. He was a brick mason at Harvey site.
Yeah.
Chief wheelbarrow driver for a number of years. All right, item 13, contract with, Mr. White.
Thank you, Mayor. We may have Saroni Kim Chun calling in momentarily, so we'll listen for that. So I'm getting familiar with the Ralph's Cleaners building. In April, the family brought a application to replace the windows in this side. And that would replace, the doorway with glass storefront, remove out these panels. And about when we were closing up, there was a comment from council saying, what about that awning? Well, we didn't have an awning proposal then. They had trouble wrapping that up. And after the meeting, they called back and, what's that?
They had trouble communicating.
And so the family's been working on that. They called back and said, hey, that is a great point. We wish we could do more with this awning, and plus just cleaning up the building with pressure washing and repairing the drive-through area. So that's what you're reviewing this evening. It would be cleaning, pressure washing. I kind of broke it out here. In red was what your council already approved back in April, and in blue is sort of the new numbers. So they're asking for help with cleaning of the building. It's going to be the sidewalks. They had a number of photos of stained areas that we wanted to really tidy up. Replace that awning in 2 sections, each one 30 feet wide, in a kind of a handsome aluminum called needlepoint navy is one of our colors. And also,
Is that painted or is that baked on?
it's a baked on finish. It's not something they're going to be brushing on. Yeah, it's going to be a factory finish. And then that drive-through canopy roofing system, it's been leaking, it's in fairly poor shape. I was just looking at some of the photos myself, and if this was the roof of your house, you'd be, oh my gosh, we've got big problems. And this is holding water's dripping through, running a bit below. It's just they're gonna tidy up the whole roof thing there and clean up the boards underneath. This is the proposed awning style, and this would be 30 feet long across those two. The whole front here, this is representing the window replacement in the side that's not open. And then also put that across the front of the existing building, the existing house.
So did I understand that right, the drive-through only is gonna get new metal, or they're doing something else?
They're reshoring up the whole thing. That metal roof's gonna come off. It's gonna be a foam roof that will drain, and it won't hold water. So that's the proposal.
You have to replace the entire awning, or the drive-through, are they not? The way that would look.
Yeah, a lot of those gotta come out. I think the framing's probably okay, but it's just gonna be kind of rough skinning that.
Part of that amount was plywood underneath, the other part was for the roofing on top.
Right.
Some kind of rubberized roofing like you put on flat.
Yeah. Is that right?
Definitely.
Improvement. So they really would appreciate your consideration on that. They're gonna be working hard to get a tenant on that side. That's part of the requirements of the funding. And they have, I believe it's 3 years to do that. And
They understand this is performance-based refund.
to refund, that's
So in
right.
other words, it doesn't meet their plan, that they understand that.
Yes.
Meet their plan, and the city does not reimburse them.
Correct. I believe they understand that. It's been explained to them.
It's not contract,
Yeah.
They don't have somebody in there for a 3-month period and payback time.
with 3 years.
I'm saying when they lease that out, it says it stays, I know they got 3 years to finish the whole thing. But if they lease that out, then they got 3 months. The way I read it, that if somebody's not in there, then the way I read it, they have to start paying it back. I might be reading it wrong, but I know they got 3 years to finish the whole thing. I read that.
3 years to finish.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
Questions or, any more comments on the downtown development grant? The side grant?
The applicant who's handling this for parents, she's in a different time zone. I don't know if she, what happened with the call, but we were, earlier today, we confirmed she was gonna call in, but I'm afraid she hasn't done that. So, I'm sorry. I know that
You did a good job describing this. I just want to make, only thing I was saying to you is, you might want to take.
I'll just pick up the receiver. It's so
Make sure they understand. What the expected of them. What's the pleasure, John? Thank you, Mr. Carroll, appreciate that. That's second. Second, Mr. Amos, name. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. No. 2 opposed. Motion has carried. Ordinance 2820 is, Ms. Lee,
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. As, Mr. Lyons was talking about, ordinance 2820 would amend 2019-20 budget ordinance by appropriating $3,678 general fund balance in order to increase the amount of the downtown revitalization grant. For house cleaners, the additional amount would be to provide 50% of the cost for cleaning and pressure washing the building and the sidewalk, awning replacements, and the drive-through repair. This brings the total of the grant, for the city's portion to $8,504.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Any questions, Ms. Lee, on that?
That's a total of 8,000, that includes what we approved in April, correct?
Yes,
This is the additional
36.
3678.
yes, sir.
Understand motion?
I make a motion, we approve ordinance 2820.
Thank you, James. Second. Second, Cameron. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? No. Two opposed. Motion is carried. Thank you, Ms. Lee. Appreciate that. Item 15 is ordinance 2920. Ms. Lee.
Ordinance 2920, amending the 2019-20 budget ordinance by appropriating $9,100 general fund balance for the purpose of providing additional funds for the COVID-19 response, including items such as sanitation supplies and protective equipment. So this will just be adding to the ordinance that you've already adopted regarding COVID-19.
I see. 2920. Questions? Entertained motion?
Make that motion.
Thank you, James. Second. Second, before, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. Item 16, public hearing to adopt our 2021 budget. Mr. Rucker.
Mayor, members of council, thank you, for this opportunity. This is probably the most unusual budget we've ever had to deal with because it's ambiguous at best. It is essentially a large, best educated guess as to what might happen. We anticipated meeting the budget quite often today on revenues that have come in. So our early predictions on revenues now seem juvenile and naive, and overly optimistic. We originally were looking at budget revenues in February of another potentially 5 to 6% growth in ad valorem tax base. Adjusting for the economy and the fact that unemployment is so high and we have multiple businesses that relax, if it were not for the PPP loans, maybe bankrupt or even some that are completely shuttered at this point. Based on that, we're looking at a decrease in revenue. So rather than adjusting tax values, because the value is not going to change as much, we looked at tax collections. And Ms. Schlichting went back and looked at her records, and our lowest ad valorem tax collection year was 94%. Part of the reason for that is that the Department of Revenue did a midnight Saturday bill or policy that said you don't have to pay your property taxes for a year. This is back in the final week of March. General Assembly then went into session and ratified that and shortened it to 6 months, starting in May. So you're still going to get a cash flow delay in sales tax, or excuse me, ad valorem property tax. So we're bracing for that, and that could potentially be a loss of $320,000 in revenue to the city. Sales tax revenue, same situation. We were looking at another year of about 5 to 6% growth. We've had consistent growth for the last 4.5 to 5 years. And annually we're growing anywhere from 4 to about 6%. And this year was going to be no exception. It's actually put it in a record-breaking year for us in sales tax. Bob Miracle, the county finance officer, is now assistant county manager, replacing Steve Harris, told us the early numbers for March. The early numbers for March are now 13% down, below flat. And before that, they were predicting a 6% growth. So they're saying to us, we haven't even seen these numbers yet, and the early numbers are looking at 19%. And that was a month that had partial stay-at-home order. So some of the lead numbers that were released in early March were very ambitious and had us only looking at maybe a 9% loss revenue and sales tax. Following day, the Association of County Commissioners released numbers, and the best case scenario that they released was 20%. We're hearing stories from the communities that are based in tourism, and we do have a tourism element here, but ours is manufacturing and industrial tourism. If you look at our hotels are full from Sunday through Thursday night. We're not a major weekend area. We do have some sporting events that carry that, but all that's down. And Mr. Edgar, I believe our occupancy tax revenue is down over 80% now. the last number we saw, month to month. So that would give you an idea of the loss of your economy. So we're looking at, we chose a little bit wider number, than what some of the larger tourism industries or tourism-based areas are looking at. And the former manager of Asheville contacted us the other day, the western manager of the state, and told us that we need to readjust our numbers if they weren't low enough. The actual areas were at 40% losses of that. So our estimated total revenue loss, we chose 21%, thinking that's a pretty conservative number. The county has wiped out all their growth and is looking at 13+%, so they're about in the 19 to 20% range. So for a total revenue loss, starting out in the company year at $853,000. Conover has never seen a year like that. Even during the Great Recession, we never had a year loss of that. The worst case scenario we projected was about $600,000 loss. It ended up not being that. Key points to remember going into this budget. We're going to ask to maintain fiscal austerity through October 1st at least, which means first sort of cut off, continue. So if you don't need it, we're not buying. The blanket purchase orders for this or that. Every nickel has to be signed off on by my office in order to maintain control. And that's because we're seeing a large cash flow shortage, at least through the first quarter, maybe through the first half of the fiscal year. Hiring freeze is still in place for non-essential personnel. Essential personnel, if you're picking up your sanitation services, your fire and police, those are all essential personnel. Obviously, utility delivery, essential personnel. So we're very cautious about that. We're down about 7 employees now, 6 depending on the day. So I don't look for all those positions to be filled. One of them is mission critical, the wastewater treatment plant. I hope we'll have somebody there pretty soon.
On the hiring freeze.
They'll like them to turn looking for.
Okay, so you're not, this isn't all through October first. This is
Yes, at least right now.
at least through October first,
Yeah.
possibly longer.
Possibly long. Reimbursement for COVID-19 related commission positions, legal budget for that. This is a handshake agreement with the county. Our county is one of the few that have offered to share the CARES Act money that was released. Most counties are not sharing it, so I feel pretty fortunate, and you should thank our county commission for doing that. They have code of federal regulations that come out to change some of the rules, so we'll have to do FEMA reimbursement first. Certain items we can pull from FEMA, certain items we can pull from the CARES Act. And every day we get new rules on that. We got new rules this afternoon, but after we get all that work. So that's good news for us that we get reimbursed those expenses, but it's a lot of paperwork in order to maintain that. So this will be, in many ways, just like a hurricane or a flash flood. The documentation will be the same. You went from first to worst in 3 months. You were tied for the lowest unemployment in the state. Now you are the highest unemployment in the state. And these are numbers that will increase by next week. We should see a new report, and it looks like we're hitting 20% unemployment in the 4 county area. I'm asking you, I know this sounds crazy, but focus on economic development, just like you've done tonight. That's how we get out of this thing. And I've never asked to focus on economic development for housing. But housing, high-density housing adjacent or in our downtown is going to be one of the best things we can do. You already have the infrastructure there, so it's short funds. And those are future terms. Plus, the population numbers help generate more sales tax spending, and also they help the sales tax distribution to the state. Retail is not going to rebound, it will revolutionize. What you see today in retail is going to be vastly different tomorrow. A lot of the middlemen in retail will be cut out. It will be straight from your phone. You'll order something from the manufacturer. And that manufacturer could be in the downtown store. Whether it's through Etsy, Amazon, those folks, that's how you're going to get it. It's going to be delivered to your home. So the traditional retailer, we know it in 3 to 5 years will no longer look like you see it. So we need to start planning for that now. Part of the LDP is underway, and Alan's going to be working on that for the next 18 months or so. We need to be prepared for that. And Mr. Chairman, we'll have to roll down on the planning board to help determine the future what the downtown is like. I'm going to ask you to focus on Tavern and respect building walk control today, but I need to get y'all out at some point. And continue to expand our workforce. I know that sounds contradictory with 18.4% unemployment. But if you'll remember, in 2012, we were still at 10% unemployment. We had employers begging for employees. Begging. So what we've done with K-64 is retraining the workforce through lifelong learning needs to continue. You have to continue to grow that workforce. Those who have the workforce, we will win in this economy. The executive order that was just signed on Saturday was kind of a last minute fluid thing that happened. Continues the utility fee abatement and stop disconnects of utilities. Today, we've already lost over $30,000 in revenue that we will not get back. So I know a lot of you want to do more for our citizens about helping them through these tough times. Our money is already out the door first. Before the feds, before the state, the cities, and the utility providers were asked to go ahead and waive fees, not disconnect people. And that's costing us significant. You will never get that money back. There's some of it we can't get back through payment plans, and some people are still paying. We're one of the few cities that did this first out the gate and didn't have to be asked. In fact, Josh Stein, the state attorney general, called us and asked for our policy. And that's what we implemented. We also implemented it for small business. We were the first city in the state to do that. To help our small businesses get through this time, so we stepped up and did great things with our COVID-19 response. And then another part of this budget is we still have to be ADA compliant. Those rules have not been relaxed. We have a lot of ADA compliance we do, and I'll put some money in there to budget for that. We've cut more of it out. But Mr. Clark fought for it, and we kept it in, so we have some ADA compliance money to make some improvements. This is the breakdown of your budget. It's a $23 million budget. You'll look, 33% or 1/3 of your total expenditures are utilities. And that includes the debt service on those utilities. But if you look at the rest of your general fund, you only have 7% debt service. And that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Very few cities our size are collected to say they only carry 7% of that in debt service. Capital reserves, Conover, and Conover way is that we save up and pay for it in cash if at all possible, saving the financing fees. And then if something like that happens, we never anticipate COVID-19, but you have that cash on hand to move around to other things with necessity. So that's the reason we have a tremendous fund balance for a city our size. We continue to maintain capital reserves and create new reserves going forward for radio replacements. The fiber system's going through a major change, 800 megahertz. This is a regulation change that we can't control. It's an unfunded mandate. The estimated cost of us is about $250 million. We try to save that up over 4 years. Now, CARES Act funding, Homeland Security funding may continue. We may get some grants to help with some of that. So if that happens, we have this money set in there in reserve that we get it to match the grant. It's a new reserve for improvements in our fleet department, the facility upgrades and replacement of this. We also have reserve for police equipment, if they need to buy tasers or firearms, any kind of major equipment purchase. Puts $10,000 up there aside for that in case we need it. And continues to reserve for fire apparatus. We need to be saving about $150,000 a year, every year, to purchase a truck every 5 to 6 years. And that rotates your fleet, and that means your old truck in your fleet is 30 years old, and the truck is brand new. So that's the best way to do it, and have adequate equipment. This puts $100,000 back to that. It's not all we can afford right now. But remember, that's not enough. That's only 2/3 what you need to put back. Let's continue to reserve for post-work office upgrades, generator and truck replacement. I think this is reserved 2 to 4, that might be 2 to 3. And establish reserve for ground cemeteries for the tractor, sycamore, and truck replacements. Big thing, everyone wants to know what we're buying this year, where they're thinking we buy. Our capital is way down. In fact, we've cut over $1 million out of capital purchases this year. And we still got to buy things like keeping our fleet department upgraded. We're going to upgrade the stock and training room to the mezzanine area above the fleet department this year. It's something we've been putting off. Something we wanted to do when we originally built the building, 12 years ago now. So,
And that item is one of those items that kind of recommended by OSHA when we had the major OSHA inspection.
gas heater and street maintenance division. purchased a new dump truck and skid steer unit. Somebody brought up grass collection just around it a while ago. We're looking at purchasing a new automated vacuum unit to help expedite that job and make it a little bit faster, get those small piles off the street quicker. And replacement of a 10-year-old zero-turn motor in the grounds department, you know how much we mow. And so I'm amazed we got 10 years out of it. And first to replace 3 patrol cars, we did within 5 years, so we've got that back quite a bit. But with the vacancies in the police department, we're not putting the miles on as we normally do. So if we go full staff, that could hurt us, but this is about what we can afford right now. And the biggest thing you're gonna purchase this year is something that we try to put off, and honestly, we've been saving for about 15 years now to do, is replacement of our general ledger software. The software that runs the city, that pays the bills, that handles sanitation, that does water and sewer, that does accounts payable, all of those things, and that everybody's payroll is dying, not because it's bad software, it's because the people who wrote it are gone. There's no way to get service. And so I plan on not doing this, and Mr. Nyler came to convince me, so if you don't do something, you're gonna regret it. So he actually gave up some projects to make this happen, and we had several, had more than $150,000 saved up. We also transferred money from water, sewer, and sanitation to fund that project. It will be a massive project, lots of headaches, take a year, may cause people to retire early. All those things, but it has to be done because the same software we run the city with today is the same software you were running the city with before in 1991, maybe before. And so it's not been upgraded. So that's the backbone of your system. You're gonna have to do something. And like I said, I tried to put that off, and now there's no opportunity. We have to do something. What are our peers doing? So this is, in comparison. What are their proposals? New is proposing sanitation fee increase from $12.75 to $19.45. And as of right now, they're proposing their $30 motor vehicle tax, and that's up for debate tomorrow night. Claremont is proposing a 4% water sewer increase. That's not all. They're using a 4% finance new automated meter reading system. They don't have AMR. And they're replacing all the meters, not just the sending. We did a combination of several years. We did a little bit every year. We've got great system going.
We changed all of our residential one time and went back and did that.
Correct, but I mean, we keep it updated every year.
You keep the health with that?
No, they have to do it in order to switch over to the building, if you don't get the sewer side. So when you change meters out like that, as meters get older, which they have, some of the meters in the ground are 30 years old, they run slower. So you're gonna see massive volume increases at your home. When you thought you were only using a couple thousand gallons a month, you might be using 4,000 or 5,000 gallons a month. So they can easily see their water bills double. And their manager talked with us at length about what to do and how to handle it. May is proposing the second of 3 increases in sanitation fees they approved this last week, from $8 to $9.50. They originally want to go ahead and go straight to $12, but this was a compromise that they did, and so they're going to work to get $12. Valdez, Sawmills, Grant Mall, all are increasing sanitation fees by $2 a month. Morganton, its cable and telecom increase of 5%, and they're looking at a fees change in January, but they haven't determined what that is, so I haven't put it on there yet. Hickory, now, Hickory's doing some pretty interesting stuff. They're pretty brave. Of course, until I didn't know about the $30 fee until tonight, but Hickory is proposing a 3.75% water increase. They have now reduced that to 3%. Sanitation fee is going from $22.50 to $24, which is more than $10 worth. All fees in the city are increasing by CPI 2.3%. Now that's just blanket fee increase. I don't agree with that. We've never done blanket fee increase. And then they proposed a tax rate increase to their bonded debt, and they have decided to hold it off and put it off next year. Here's the problem with that. They don't have new revenue for the bond for the infrastructure they're doing to pay for it. So they're they're basically borrowing the clubhouse to pay for that debt service, and then they're gonna do a tax rate increase in an election year. I'm looking to see how that's gonna work out. So it was proposed to be a 3 cent tax increase, and now he knows what to do. My recommendation with this budget, because of the unusual circumstances that we're in, is maintain a property tax rate, maintain a motor vehicle tax of $30, water sewer increase, pass along the increase our sewer as well. And our that means our average customer 5,000 gallons a month, $1.37 on the water bill. Maintain our fixed capital charge, now that's important. You have a 47-year-old wastewater treatment plant, it is in great shape, but we cannot get parts for it. So you're gonna have to do some major upgrades. You're looking at about $12 million of upgrades for today's dollars over the next 20 years. We're funding that rather than borrowing money for it. Water sewer fund subsidizes the general fund now $400,465. 2009, or 2010 budget, we proposed that it was 215,000. It's grown to over $500,000, and this year we're working back from that. So continue to remember that. The deficit that you see in your general fund that I showed you, that 800,000 is actually 1.3 million. Scheduled fees, I'm asking you not to do anything with those other than what sewer rates are proposed, and allow staff to evaluate what we need to charge for things. There's a lot of things we're not charging for that we should. Some things need to be adjusted to be more in line with market rates, so we reduce that burden on the taxpayer, put it on the fees, those who are using those actual services. And we'll evaluate those at a later date. It may be this year, it may be next year sometime. I just need to tell you. And then in this budget, we're recommending a flat pay increase of $1,000 for non-sworn employees, and that will be in December, only if we have revenue. If revenue numbers are down, I would not recommend it. The county has proposed to do $500 July 1. The committee met, I believe, last Tuesday or Wednesday.
And it's public hearing Thursday night.
Thursday night.
That's probably what they decide.
Yeah, and they moved that to April rather than do it in July. And it was split vote then. And remember, you're borrowing $1,082,000 out of your fund balance still. I'll probably answer any questions.
How much do we borrow last year?
I have to look at my cheat sheet here. We have to end up returning.
That's to increase fund balance to $943,000.
Yeah, we projected a year at a little over 200,000, not counting budget amendments throughout the year, and we ended up returning quite a bit. About 600,000. No, that's including capital projects, grants, all of the revenue to that. Well, I'm sorry.
This is a public hearing. You're here on behalf of a budget. Would like to speak for or against. We'd love to hear from you. Just come forward and state your name and address the public record. Appreciate that. Come in. You want?
Mayor and council, I'd like to add one of the things that's not in this budget. Something you need to consider immediately after adopting this budget is borrowing rate on the credit road right now. We borrow money in 2.5, 2.7 million. We have 3 large outstanding loans of north of 4.5, or 5, or 6, or 7 range. And they're 4-year loans. We can refinance those, those kind of commercial loans, save millions of dollars in interest for the city. So Ms. Lake and I would like to explore that. We've been talking with the bank and looking at those numbers. And it would increase our budget, debt service slightly, but it would reduce our overall expenditures significantly over the next decade to get that debt burden off. Is that this one?
Will they let you do that?
Yes, I'm sure they would be able to definitely.
How much is big?
Yeah, we're already talking to the bank, probably by tomorrow, or the next day. We'll see what the interest rate is gonna be from the bank, and we know the payoff from USDA, so, we're thinking that it's gonna cost us more for the first couple of years, but we're gonna have it all paid off much earlier and save about $1,400,000 in interest over the term.
I'll take a motion for this. Thank you, Mr. Bishop. You have a second? Second, Mr. Cameron, thanks, sir. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Ordinance 3020. Mr. Duncan, thank you to you and the staff for all the hard work on this. I love your budget review was good. It's exactly what we went over, when we went over the budget. So everybody, all the councils had a chance to look at that now for, I guess, really since March. So, ordinance 3020, Mr. Duncan.
Mayor, members of council, this ordinance is part of the required bill statute. Council must adopt the budget by June 30 every year. And that is a really good segue into the timing. It's actually much earlier than June 30th because by law, we have to get it to the county because they collect their taxes by June 22nd. So you have to advertise all of your rates and your major funds 10 days in advance of this public hearing. Then you have 2 days to get it to the press. So your window of adopting the budget really is down to about 10 days. So even though they do say June 30th, it's much shorter than that. And with this ordinance, you'll have a new budget for 2021, and then after that, it does set the budget tax rate for the vehicle and the property tax. Yes, sir.
I don't see, food trucks. Food trucks.
We do not charge the fee for food trucks at this time. We have loosely regulated them to try to encourage small business. That's something you'd like to address and schedule fees in the future with you. What we thought about doing, and this is just a call, is allowing food trucks on private property, that property on commission. As long as they meet the health department regulation, that's fine. But if they want to use public property for a non-special event, so like for a special event, you want to charge, you want it there for the sale of your current resident. So it's a non-special event on city property, so speak of that. But it can't be a small, it can't be a punitive fee. We have to be very careful about that.
Well, they have to come in and get a permit anyhow, don't
They do, they meet with Mr. Dugan, and it's not a emergency permit, they review that, and basically it's to make sure we're not,
they? We should,
press not here, make sure you don't have child pedophiles and things like that. So,
we should at least charge for the permit. I mean, just for the time it takes them to go through, do all this and everything, and piece of paper to put it on, nothing else.
Did I, make a recommendation with that?
yeah, when we bring the schedule feedback, we can certainly do that.
Ordinance 30.
Wait a minute.
Question.
You presented this all to us, the, water sewer rates, were dependent upon the city of Hickory charging us 3.75%. We were gonna eat a percent of that, I guess, and go to 2.75. Hickory has now said that if their charge is 3%,
Right.
so, we need to go from 2.75 at least down to 2.
Mr. Clark, speak to that, let's go, thank you.
Sure. We did, when we had, our budget hearings, everybody before, we did talk about that.
Well, we're done there. Go ahead.
We did discuss that, we discussed, whether or not Hickory was ready for the whole group, because a lot of times they do change. Of course, you understand that the $20,000, that was the 2.75% increase, or 3.75% increase, just on the water sale. That's, we basically buy the water from them, and they increase that amount every year. that only reflected about $23,000 a year in actual increase on that, from that money. So basically what I'm saying is, if we take the whole 275, the 3.75 away, that's the total increase rate increase. If we're coming from, that is their increase. If you want to take the 0.75 off that they reduced it by, you're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000. $6,600 and some odd dollars. So it's really not a lot of money that we're talking about. We're talking about 20 some odd thousand, if you're talking about taking the whole, 3.75% away. And just remember what we talked about when we had those budget meetings. Dollar mentioned them in together. And that's totally your decision, but my job is to explain to you where we are, and talk truth and numbers, and that's exactly what I'm doing. You've got a lot of obligation. Your rate study, your rate plan that you pay for, you pay somebody money to do, basically took all your capital projects, and it's not 20 years that we were talking about, maybe it's more like 10 years worth of capital projects that you got, $15 million worth that you're either going to have to pay debt service on, or you're going to have to do yourself. But it's got to happen. Because your wastewater treatment plant's going to be inoperable. And you're going to be in trouble. You don't want that. We've been there. We've done that. So you got those capital expenses that you got to deal with. You've also got annual increases every year. And wastewater and water is not cheap. It may be cheap to buy. It's a whole lot cheaper to buy. That's probably the most reasonable cost, resource that we have. We just don't realize it. We take it for granted. But it costs a lot of money to keep the system up. So you can, distribute water and keep, transfer sewer from home. It costs a lot of money to do that. You see increases every year. We've done, and I think you'll attest to that, we've done a real job over the years of keeping those numbers flat. So folks, we've used technology, and we've used good people to make that happen. When it gets to the point where you actually got to have equipment, and you got to have new equipment, to take place of old aged equipment, we can't do that internally. We have to contract that out, and that's big money, that's real money. You just got to remember, it may just seem like that it's, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, our total 2.75% increase, and it's 2.75 on water, 2% on sewer. We don't do the 0.75% on the sewer because we don't negotiate with Hickory or anybody else about that. That's how. We're talking about, for water, you're talking about $73,000 a year, I think, if you gain $54,000 for sewer. So it's not like you're gaining a lot of money. But cumulatively, it's a lot, when you're trying to put money back like we do, to pay debt and that thing that going in.
I understand that, and what I'm trying to say is, the perception is, when we had these meetings, Hickory's first number, and this was 375.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna do 275. Why don't we just pay what Hickory charges us, and then we don't get into this? Now they come back to 3, so we're gonna stay at 275, why don't we just charge 3, if that's what they're gonna charge?
They try to explain that a little bit better. Our study says that in order to cover all of our costs, and that's our O&M, our annual O&M, and future debt, for projects that we identify. You all know what they are. You've seen them many times.
Okay, so
Now, we need 2%.
Put it out there cheaper than Hickory.
Hey, you're not cheaper than Hickory. You've never been cheaper than Hickory, actually. If you take a look at the total cost, by contract, you can't be cheaper. But and we're not we're a long, long way. One of the reasons we don't get a lot of grants is because our water and sewer is so cheap. We don't qualify for anything, any grant of any kind, where we're a high unit cost provider. Zero. Never comply. You've never done that money. It's always been real low. But according to your study, you're supposed to have the 2%. So yes, if you want to do away with the Hickory increase, you're talking about Yeah, you're talking about lowering, the money that you would have coming in, I think by, you see what my note here said about this, I'll tell you the story. You're lowering it, if you go back to the 2%, you're going from profit for of 73,000 to 52,000, so you're talking about $20,000. That's what you want to do. And I understand exactly where you're coming from. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I'm just going over the numbers that you told us, this is what it is. If you're saying we need the 275 to come up to our study, no matter what Hickory charges, if Hickory was, charging us 175, we need 275.
The 0.75 equates to what Hickory's increase is. So yes, it's over and above the 2% that you're committed to in the study. When we did the study, and the same folks that does Hickory study, by the way, have done ours for years, but they don't factor in what they think Hickory's rate increase is going to be every year. They leave that to us, whether or not we want to eat it, which we have. We read it in the past, and we tacked on a little bit before. When times were real good, we needed the money, right? But in this case, all we're asking, and it's normally what we do ask for, is we're asking for the 2% in the study, and then the other 0.75% that equates to the Hickory increase. That's what we're asking for. I totally understand if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to do that for you. I mean,
Well,
but I just want you to understand that was the total amount.
I was trying to get around, I was trying to say, well, why don't we just do the 3 on the usage and leave the fixed charges where they were? Because we're doing the $5 extra on the charges in.
I understand that, but the problem with that is, though, with that fixed charge, it's actually calculated in your study as a fixed charge, and it's set aside, for a certain purpose. So it really, it would be easier.
But really, we're charging it twice. We're charging it on the fixed, and then we're charging it on the usage.
You're talking about,
So, it's not, it's more like,
but the usage is actually for where they use, and what they use for, and you remember what the customer charge is that you're talking about. It. Customer charge is not for the water they use, it's for the service provided. So yes, you're increasing that because it costs the service provider, costs more money every year. I mean, and if you want to change that, Mr. Director, the time to change that probably would be when you do your next study. We would tell those folks, hey, you need to compute this in a different fashion because we don't want to pass those costs along every year. But you just got to remember the numbers ain't going to change. So that means that you're going to have to ask for more when it comes to the rate increase. When it comes to the usage increase, you're going to have to ask for more in order to come up with the same amount of money.
Mr. Fulbright, you had a question, sir?
I got 2, and no big deal, it just sort of got me curious. Under, fire personnel summary, you come down to, lieutenants, and for 2021, there was 3 requested, and proposed by the city manager was blank.
I have looked at that sheet. Mark, do you have any, is that typo or is that?
We requested, our numbers will stay the same, but we requested to promote 3 lieutenants. The numbers of what we got full-time will stay the same, won't be increasing, but we just had requested to promote 3 individuals to the office of lieutenant.
And I understand that, normally, but I proposed by the city manager, he quotes the same thing or
Yes,
or something like that, that's just a blank there.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, the new sheet.
Yeah, it doesn't even have a 0, but I think that's an omission.
I thought so too. But down the
Well, I know
line.
what I turned in, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that, so I can't explain that.
Yeah.
I can't explain that.
I just wanted you to know what he was talking about.
8
Yeah,
requested,
that's what I
and you proposed 11, I thought maybe that's what you were making it up or something.
I've not even seen that.
We had 11,
We
I
don't.
thought was that.
we had 11 this year, engineers. Chief was wanting to make 8 engineers and 11 lieutenants, and the manager said keep them all engineers.
Also, they don't even know, you ain't seen it, so you're sticking for the city manager.
Well, that's what it says here, black and white. You can read black and white, you can read it.
Okay, I got everybody confused. We'll go on to the next.
We'll do whatever the chief needs. He can go around to the department heads and tell them.
I appreciate that. It probably just a typo.
We'll get it.
Easiest thing to go with.
That's not part of the ordinance, so that's just, plain,
Yeah, it wouldn't be increasing the number there at the bottom. It'd just be changing, promoting three,
I think that's supposed to be 3 and 8.
engineers, yeah, it would be 3 and 8, that way you'd have 11.
Okay. If we did have a request for a new employee, I can find that. That's all,
Go ahead. All right, on the downtown revitalization grants, for this proposed year, you got 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Correct, we always do that, you only approve them as needed. That's what we do budget.
I was hoping you don't say it that way. You can.
Yeah, I mean,
You have recruiting for next year yet?
yeah, there's been no applications, and honestly, I don't
It's just not
see any for a
budgeted
while.
For it.
Yeah.
I sort of figured that, but numerous times asked if we could look at that again, and I get the royal runaround, so I thought maybe somebody took it to heart.
Mr. Bill, I think you had a question. You good?
I do need to make a comment on, and I know it's been a tough year, but it wasn't a tough year, it's gonna be a really good year.
It was.
Then COVID come along, I understand that, things are tough. But, yeah, I stood down there at the early voting for 10 days, went through voting, and I heard vehicle tax out my email, and I told the people that I would take a look at it. And I actually think that we need to do something or show some type of good faith with the way things are this year. I mean, we're gonna give employees $1,000 raise, maybe, maybe if money comes in. But, we're just gonna keep on, back to raising. I think we need to give it $20 instead of 30, my personal. I mean, that's just my comment.
Well, we have something to show what we've done with the street.
We just,
That wasn't nothing right.
We should have all
More.
There's one thing. I can sort of.
yeah, there's a remote right there, Jimmy, on the screen.
Basically, what we got for you here is, this is the streets that we paved last year. The reason we kind of put this together was to kind of give you an idea, and we tried to pick some streets that we thought, that you'd be familiar with. Kind of give you an idea, what it's costing to do a street. I think somebody mentioned a minute ago, with the tax Mr. Duncan mentioned that it was $239,000 a year. That's what we've been getting from the tax. 79,000. I'm gonna tell you what we have total, Mr. Acker. 79,000 of that goes to transit. That leaves $160,000 of the tax that also goes toward street maintenance, not just paving. People think that all we do is resurface, but we do a lot of other things. We have to mill. We actually do some of our crosswalks and stuff with those monies when we have to make repairs and when we do crosswalks. We have to have money to do patching with, and we just have the two funds that we use for that. We also have the Cowbill tax. Basically from Cowbill, this coming year, we estimate that we're gonna get $22,571. That's actually down 24,000, that's actually down 24,000 from last year.
How much say you're gonna get?
$222,571 is our estimate. So if you look at the total we think that we're gonna have next year somewhere around $346,000 in the revenue to do street maintenance. Now, that includes that's vehicle tax and power combined.
Say that again, Jim, I'm sorry. 268,000 combined?
346,362 combined. Okay. Now, of course, we allocate that between two departments. We have a Powellville division that, if you'll recall, a few years ago, we took pretty much everything out of there except one employee. and supplies and materials, buy patching materials and so forth with. And the fringes related to that one employees, we took the rest of that money and allocated it to nothing but resurfacing. Because how it's restricted, for that kind of activity on. And then we, of course, on top of that, we have the tax act. Here's one street, Second Avenue, let me see, did I get that? Second Street Drive, southwest, that's over in Southwest neighborhood. This is in front of the Majestic Park. You can relate to how short that street is, it's not really that long, right? This past year it cost us $27,000 to pave that street. Just kind of give you an indication. And this is what they're to show kind of the back end. This is, what new street this is? Second Avenue Northeast. And these folks, these are 2-inch overlays on the street with no street restoration involved. I'll show you one in a minute with Miller. And it's not looking straight. I think record that. Yeah. What the? 33,000. If you got that wrong.
That's
That's
the thing.
Bullet, yeah, that was Main Street. Bullet Drive, Northeast. It's pretty short, the Bullet Drive, and in Bullet Circle, we get to go back to the cul-de-sac. And together, those were $33,000. If you go down there and look, that's not a lot of streets that money. Here's one that we paid in the Cambridge, very short street. We had to mill it, we had to do some patching, but we paved it. Paving was just 11.2 because of what the milling and so forth was. So if you wait too long, it costs you almost double the paving street.
That's just the top of the field there, that's not all the way.
Oh, it's just up there to the street. You can see where the pavement color changed, it's just in the front of the cul-de-sac. In fact, the remainder of that street's on the paving list for this coming fiscal year. So that just kind of gives you an idea, and if you look at the last few years of what we've been spending, and remember what I said, we're not only spending on resurfacing, we're also having to spend it on, when we do crack boring, when we do, patching, and we do most patching by ourselves, but we also have contractors to do some, what it is. But if you look, 15, 16, 282,000 for nothing but resurfacing. Next year, 303, nothing but resurfacing. 315, nothing but resurfacing. 263, nothing but resurfacing. The last year there, you can't include it, that's the year that we ain't currently, we just recently paid 3 streets and it's not in that number. But you can kind of get an idea how much money we spend, each year, doing nothing but resurfacing. And we spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000-$60,000 doing other types of maintenance. So that gets you up pretty quick, to your $346,000 a year to be allocated. Can't see this real good if you look at the shady colors. Kind of gives you an idea over the last 16 years, how we've done, with paving streets. Folks have done pretty doggone good over the last 16 years. If you notice, if you take a real good look at the colors over the last 6 years or so, particularly the last 2, you notice there's a lot more streets on there that are a little longer. Now what that means is, because if you remember, if you looked at our pavement study data, what we do is we evaluate streets block to block. So a lot of times, just those segments will get paid depending on the condition of those segments of street. Now, if staff goes out and says, well, it don't make sense to pave this little piece without paying paving a block down because it's going to have to be paved 2 years from now. They go ahead and add it to the list. It just makes sense doing that kind of thing. But if you notice, over the last couple of years, they've gotten longer. So we've been able to address the longer streets and do them all at one time rather than going back and doing segments and having to spread the money further. But you paved a lot of streets. I mean, you can see there's a large number of streets over the last 16 years have been paved. Remember, it wasn't too many years ago, somebody asked me, okay, what's the magic number if we had all the money in the world, what would it cost to go out and pave our streets? Anybody remember what that number was? When I gave you that number, it's $6.5 million. That number today is more like $8.5 million. And the bad thing about that is, I told you then, I said, we can do that, we got all the money in the world. But a year later, somebody's gonna be complaining because they want their street paid. Because something's gonna happen, I might go dig it up, or somebody else is gonna tear it up, or it's gonna sink because it's got a sewer line or a water line in the middle of it. So it's a never-ending story. It's just something to try to keep ahead of. And y'all have done a great job with the money that you've provided, to upgrade your street. You started out with the extra penny that you gave us. What year was that? Gosh, I can't remember.
5 years ago.
Started out with an extra penny and it equated to about the same amount of money. And then, of course, we did away with the extra penny and put that toward capital. That's when we went to the ag tax. And that's pretty much what we do with the money. And that's just real quick, just to carry through that in there so I can kind of give you some sort of idea of why we pay. We pay them because of alligator, all the people who are getting ready to pay in when they do something. Of course, that's one longitudinal cracking and, of course, testing the road when we make repairs. I just thought that may help you.
How much of a reduction would it be to go with what Mr. Edwards suggested at 20 as opposed to the 30?
Okay, let me give you the breakdown. If that's reducing it by 50%, so basically, if you take the 239, and you reduce it by 50%, that leaves $119,500. If you take the $119,500 and take the $79,000 out for transit, okay, and that's, we're obligated to take money out for transit, and when we decided we were going to do this, that was one of the first things we said we were going to use it for.
By law,
By law, you have to use a certain percentage, right? No, a certain amount.
$10.
Yeah, $10. So basically, that leaves you $40,500 that you can allocate, for resurfacing. So you would add that $40,000 to your Powell revenue of, 222. Of course, you're going to be at 260,000, a year.
with about $110,000 to $120,000 less than
But you come a long way, baby. I mean, you've done good, really, you have. I mean, I know, you never make everybody happy. Everybody wants a new paved street. But folks, just ride around the other cities. Ride around to the ones that drop beside you and then ride through Conover and tell me I'm wrong. Our streets are still, they're still good.
Many out there that's in bad shape for them.
Well, we got patches. A lot of people don't like patches. Patches, when I showed you that photograph a minute ago, that's the problem. That's what we worry about. We worry about the road getting in such poor condition that the subgrade starts to fail. And then when this happens, when we have to mill it, then your price double.
You're gonna have to do the old Second Avenue, Second Avenue Drive, right? Is that down to Sunny Road? That's cool.
No, that
on
one
street,
is,
Yeah, it's Fifth Street Drive, yeah.
it's basically that.
Second Avenue Drive.
I think that's one of my house. Pretty sure.
It is, you're right,
Yeah.
it is. It is, it's the one right beside, Dan Ray, because that's what she had, that's what it is. It's in pretty bad shape. So that just kind of gives you some sort of idea.
I don't like the vehicle tax, but I would rather, for the vehicle tax, reduce your tax to the drive. If we move that over to the property tax, then your own tax will be put on property. That's exactly what we're talking about with you. The other concern I have about removing it is that we put it in, we've suffered all the complaints about it. I think, I continue to think it's a good thing, because it's a way to pay it. I don't want to waffle. I would rather keep it. I was out there with you, and I heard a lot of.
Well, we're here tonight,
We hear a lot of what?
Well, he asked what it was used for.
Yeah.
And you're complaining, you just want to back.
we'll do what we, whatever you decide, we're fine. I mean, we'll do what we can do with what we got. And that's what I promise. I mean, we'll stretch it as far as we can, and we'll use the right method, in order to get it done. And we understand whatever you need to do.
Well, right, your
Part of
question.
the issue is the fact that this year, the way we did it, I've set 33 of these things. Okay? First time I've ever had to vote on a budget. I had an hour and 15-minute meeting with one councilman. I don't know what the rest of the council people were. We haven't been together. I think that's not right. That's not the way it should be. It shouldn't be.
We should talk about it in special circumstances.
I said it, I know it's a special circumstance.
Okay.
But Hickory's council met, Reed's council met, Fairmont's council met. We didn't meet as a group. I believe that's leadership, what that is. That's my comment.
Ms. Fulbright,
We didn't have time to.
your comments was,
It was different, that's for sure.
50% was the first 10. So, you've got one, that's in the street budget.
Well, I was opposed to start with, I thought it shouldn't be more than 10, so, I haven't voted for it for the last couple of years, and I don't plan on changing my mind, so, the rest of you can do whatever you want to. We took our oil beating and probably will, and maybe some of the pain will ease when the people in Houston get beat up, but I doubt it.
It kind of happens when they do the street gate, right?
Mr. Clark, can you make that a different number? Say 2461.
They can make the number anything you want, or.
You can't be north of 30 unless you have special legislation.
Has to be at least.
You can do anything you want to set, but you can't change it for the next year.
So 25 will be, about 40 grand.
About 60.
About
45 grand. Is that what else, that's compromise?
I like to keep it where it is right now.
I'm still at 10, so.
I appreciate Bruce's perspective, I appreciate those.
Well, I'm just, I told the people so we take a look at it. What I'm saying is, we didn't have a chance to sit down as a group and look at it. So that's why we're here right now discussing.
Well, the gentleman described it as a new tax. So this is our third year tax, it's not a new tax.
Correct.
A lot of people, especially the first year, didn't realize that they could.
This is new when you realize it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you gotta remember, we had 3% unemployment in February. You're gonna have 20%, 25%, $30, the extra $20 for some of these people that don't have a job. And when, their unemployment runs out, and the store doesn't reopen, what are they gonna do?
Well, you've already got your money in first with the executive order and utility. Just like we talked about, if we change the utility rate, then all of the revenue that we've gained, it's already gone because of the executive order. You already lost more than your rate revenue.
Yeah, you're probably gonna lose as much in revenue that you would have gained in sewer revenue anyway. Probably that's what's the number.
It's already spoken for, so your money's up front. And in that same executive order that was later ratified by the General Assembly, they gave every property owner a year to pay their motor vehicle taxes. They gave them a year to pay their motor vehicle taxes. Then the General Assembly came back and made that 6 months from May. So they're getting an interest-free loan. You may not collect all the revenue.
Well,
Bob, are you saying that when my tag comes due in August, it really don't come due for February?
You don't have to pay it for 6 months at a time, as to the drop the bill, first or second week of May, first week,
Without penalties.
without bill, no late payment.
We are seeing we take advantage of that.
So that's why I'm saying, you gotta worry about cash flow already.
We've
So
also,
by cutting more revenue, you're digging yourself a deeper hole.
let me ask you this question. I know that, South County has received, or is going to receive, money here from the repair, correct?
They get basically they get a check card that they can draw down from, and that's what I mentioned earlier. That they have allowed the cities to be reimbursed for COVID-related expenses.
Only COVID related.
Yeah, and so it's only expenses that you approve in these budget amendments. No other money, if you go to nothing else. The regulations on that money are so strict. I mean, there's the frequently asked questions memo is 6 pages.
Our loss that we're not getting, so people aren't paying, that's not considered.
That is not covered, no, sir, that is not covered relation. You have to eat that, that's the write-off. Vicki will have to show that it's bad debt in the next budget.
Did you, now, I heard you talk about the 29,000 today, but did you talk about executive 142, which
You
extends
extend
that?
another 2 months, so
Another
the
2 months.
30,000 you've already lost. You get another 2 months of that, so it's probably gonna be somewhere maybe 45 to 50 now. Already, but it's just gone, it's vaporized. Anything you do about it. And then, if somebody didn't pay their bill and they moved, that money's gone too.
I have one other question, I need to get clarified. When we had that, 15-minute meeting, I believe you told us, I think you told me that any capital projects would not be done until January if the money came in.
Yeah, we would be
We're not gonna be
spending money.
spending any capital money until 2021.
Correct, yeah. Well, do we have money? So if the revenue's coming good, then we might change that and release projects. But right now, there's no plans to, unless something's already in process. So like, patrol cars, the state contract for patrol cars, you put your order in, I believe, in September or the 1st of October, typically. And we wouldn't be putting our order in until like, so we know we have money. That's the thing, it's not that, the budget is terrible, it's that cash flow is terrible. And it's unpredictable.
Well, the revenues are gonna be terrible.
The budget plans for $1 million.
At
$1
this
million
point,
difference.
yeah, $1 million loss at this point. We hope to not have.
And that's equivalent to,
It's on tax rate.
and so,
Not in change.
Well, you're projecting 94% collection, you think we get that?
I have no idea.
That's a
I
low
mean,
rate.
really, I don't have any idea.
94%, that was in what, 2009?
No, 10 was the worst.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
10 was the worst.
And let me say, when we're talking about, fees, we are very limited in what we can charge fees for. They took away the privilege license tax. We are very, very limited in what we can charge fees for. If we don't have a statute that says you can charge a fee for this, then you can't charge a fee for it. You can't just go out and make up fees. The other thing about fees is your fees are not really a revenue source, because your fees can only, you have to justify your fees to your cost. So fees will take away some of what the tax rate is carrying right now on what we're not charging. But it's not a revenue producer per se, because you just can't go out and decide, well, I'm gonna charge them $50 for this. You have to justify, and your fees can only cover your costs.
Okay, on the food trucks, do we get sales tax off the food trucks?
They have to file sales tax to the state, yes. We don't get it.
How's that mean?
Well, the way it
Now,
is,
we know they
it
do.
works the same as any sales tax, and that is whether that food truck's in Hickory or Conover or Maiden or wherever it is, all that sales tax goes in as Catawba County.
Okay.
And then we get it back based
Based
on
on
our population,
population, okay.
yes.
That's
So it
all.
doesn't really matter where the sale occurs in Catawba County.
That's what I thought.
But of course, you know, that helps us by having the mall. You know, we don't have a mall here, Hickory does. Hickory has a lot more restaurants than we do, so we're benefiting off of the sales tax projected.
More bars we do.
Is that the way Amazon works, when they charge the sales tax, does that still get,
Now, that's a little different.
they get cleared back to the county?
That's a federal streamline tax that goes to the state, and then the state does its own portion on online sales. And that's been debated for some time, but they're not ready to get to the license. And until the legislation cleans that up, the answer is,
That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the way it's supposed to work. When you put in your area, your zip code, when you order something online, it's supposed to come back to the county of your zip code. That's what it's supposed to work.
Unless you're in Bedford, you got Hickory.
Well, I don't know exactly how that works.
But I just threw that out of red herring.
it's better than it was, but it's not perfect. And it's gonna become more and more. useful.
All right. Ordinance 30, that's what I was asking about on the food trucks. It's gotta cost something to write out those permits, if not, write out the permit, so we can charge $5, $10.
We got resolution 2020, the schedule of fees coming up. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna tell Mr. Fulbright, for years and years and years, I was on the Part F board, the discussion was, why don't we charge fees that go into the state park? The reason why you don't charge fees to go to the state park is you gotta pay somebody to administer that, and ain't worth aggravation, charge somebody a fee. Now, if they wanna rent a building, that's a different issue. I'm talking about you go into the time limit. If you just wanna walk into the state park, we don't charge you. Now, South Carolina does. It's quite hefty, as a matter of fact. It can be quite, I think I'll more get to a park in South Carolina, it costs to get most country. But I think you would be doing something counterproductive to charge a fee, food truck, especially on a private. You make the argument. It's just administrative cost. Not really.
Then why have them come in and get a permit then?
Well,
Come on, Mayor.
Ordinance 3020, had a lot of discussion, a lot of good discussion. Appreciate that. Mr. Clark, thank you for the explanation. It is what it is this year. This is a budget, and budgets are guides. So, that being said, we have a consensus to take the motion.
we close the public hearing. I know we closed the public hearing.
Yes, we did. Mr. Bill and Mr. Kenrock.
All right. Well, I move we approve ordinance 30.
Thank you. Do you have a second on that?
Well, I have one question before.
Sure.
You had proposed a compromise on the motor vehicle tax for 25, and I don't know that it was.
Mr. Fulbright said he wasn't interested in that. So.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to clarify.
Well, my cohort side of it said that money was in the budget, and if I voted for the budget, then why would I vote against the fees? So, it is what it is.
I thought Mr. Edgar made a good point. This, people are going to be suffering, and there's questions out there. So is the city, as Mr. Cameron made a great argument.
And we do not raise.
I mean, and then this slipping just scares the crap out of me. But the words.
You got a rent on it, it's still here.
Yeah.
Better get a big title. Ordinance 3020, I've got a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Second. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I'll vote.
One opposed, motion is carried. Thank you. Resolution 2020, amending schedule C. Now, talk about food truck.
Mayor, Mr. Council, schedule B proposed to use, the only change on there will be the water sewer rate proposed, and as stated in the budget presentation, I'd like to bring that item back to you later today. Other than the tax rate, the increase in the same month, one of the things that we like talking about is also the food trucks and also our fire inspections. We do a whole lot more for citizens, business citizens that we don't charge for, that we probably should be charging. We're not about trading rate. We're also looking at like some rental facilities, things like that, so we cover our costs. And we'd like to bring it back in this fall, winter, late. There for your approval. You do have to drop the car into it.
Okay, I heard a lot of discussion about food trucks, we might have some thoughts, and think about this for some time. What's your pleasure?
Well, Mr. Duncan said we need to wait till this fall to do anything about fees. I made my suggestion. Wait till the fall.
Well, until we have a chance to bring it back to you.
It would be nice between now and this fall, but we have to sit down and have a retreat.
Well, I mean,
About this stuff.
what would be your proposal to the
I'll ask you.
I think we need to get together and.
Okay. So the schedule fees,
I think we need to go ahead and set a time between now and the fall. The council can get together and really discuss it. I know Mr. Lyons is working on it. I'm correct on that.
so schedule fees are as presented. Yes. All right. 2020, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Cameron. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? One opposed. Motion is carried. Item 19 is the contract between the city and Conover County.
Mayor, members of council, we've had a long-term contract with Cobb County and Gulf Church and Shelter. I do anticipate that this agreement changing next year, as you know, the Humane Society has been like veterans kicked out by the county, and so I do not know what that entails for 2021, but right now, the agreement is the same, pending that. You can approve these fees with budget this time.
Move to approve the agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Second, Will. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 19, application for
Members of council, special event application, this is for your information only and feedback from council. As you know, the executive order from 2 weeks ago allowed restaurants to reopen at 50% capacity. And that's internally. Some restaurants have outdoor seating, some do not. Many cities are looking at opportunities to allow for additional outdoor seating to use the public space, so sidewalk, alleyway, street, parking areas, things like that. Or even if it is a restaurant that has outdoor dining, they might expand that area. This would be a special use permit. We already have a special use permit process application to complete earlier this year in anticipation of more events that go in the amphitheater. So the suggestion came, rather than write a whole new ordinance that's only going to be for a temporary amount of time, why not just use the special permit application that we have? And we just struck out some stuff that applies only to the COVID-19. And each restaurateur, like 1877, is doing the outdoor events out back. We went in person, met with them and walked through it and said, yes, but we have nothing in writing about what they did or for us. Well, I can't do a handshake anymore, so it's kind of elbow deal. And said, hey, yeah, you can try this and we'll monitor it and see what happens. But you have many other restaurants that can have additional capacity and need to ramp up capacity. And we think that phase 2 is going to go on for the remainder of the month. And the weather looks pretty good, so it's option to increase their outdoor dining space. This would be a case-by-case basis. we would go to each restaurant and say, if you want to do this, fill out your paperwork, give us a little map, you have a record of it, you get inspection, and they're all great. Like we did. And so it's just feedback from y'all, are y'all willing to do that? I know the other cities that presented this last week, and this week, like Burlington had a 32-page ordinance. I was like, why do you need a 32-page ordinance to allow people to die on the sidewalk? For a month, yeah.
I think it's excellent. I mean, it's a suggestion.
And we may not have anybody take advantage of it, we may just have, Clint over here do his thing, and that'd be it, but I think there are often opportunities to be proactive, try to make some small business.
Fresh F's got an ideal place down there to expand that.
Right.
Have a little bit, but
Other businesses bring merchandise to that.
I think we just addressed that, you know.
How many restaurants would probably do that?
Well, we, depending on the year, we typically have between 30 and 36 privately owned establishments. They include- Yeah, that includes change as well. But what we don't allow is them to use their parking lot for outdoor dining. So even on their private property, this would be a permit that would allow them to do that. If they want to take out, say, if you're at El Paso and they have outdoor dining, they want to take out that row of parking. And so they can add more outdoor dining space, take some of the tables from inside out. Give them a chance to do it. Well, the health department inspector.
Well, that's the health department, I understand.
And the fire department for safety, so yes, they would.
So it's safer, but it's outside and inside.
Amen.
It's something that,
It's for your information and your feedback, and get your support. You've already adopted this policy. What I want to do is take the policy and apply it in a different direction. Correct, yeah.
anybody got a problem with 19? I want to go over 19. We just thank you. Okay. 21, I understand, is actually outdated, governing latest.
Yes, sir, thank you. I would ask that you continue, item 21 to July, take that there, we can modify it based on the latest, executive order and advisement. We were getting updates Sunday morning from it, and so this, essentially this ordinance which you have is out of date, based on that latest information.
Board, do we need to vote to continue or just continue?
Just continue.
Just carry it, okay. All right, respect Mr. Governor's recommendation. I don't think that's, okay, thank you. Committee reports, does anyone, would like to report? So, council members,
Mr. Duncan and myself sat through a Western Piedmont Council of Governments board meeting. We sadly found out that the reason that NC Works is not open is because they're using the people down in Raleigh, which I went by down there the other day and noticed that they had plastic containers out there for you to get your paperwork out of. Sort of thought, it's not fair, I don't think.
It's not.
I think we need some people down there for IS, and I don't know how many people down there that need help, and there's nobody there except for plastic container or paperwork.
totally agree with
Yeah.
It's
Thanks for
actually,
bringing that to our attention. We need to, some letter.
I think it's good. I already found out to address that too. I'll probably win and see who wants to discuss that.
We'll go on letter, and like I say, we sort of mentioned that after the meeting, because there wasn't much else going on, and that really got me thinking. I wrote down there and checked out everything, I said, this is just not right.
And to their credit, they have one person who comes in every day, fills out applications, takes it back up, goes back in their process, but one person is not.
Now, they're doing that so they can get their unemployment checks out to the people and everything. But, some people hadn't even got one yet because they're having a hard time filling out the forms and finding the help they need.
What's that? I want to thank the staff of both cities for putting on the celebration for the girls' basketball. Mr. Woolright and Mayor Pro Tem Hammond, myself, was there for that. It was a great event. Newton had all their council, all their council.
Well, and
And I believe that she
She brought the best time she could bring.
Did that?
But we don't, anybody have one of those chocolate cupcakes, but oh my God.
It was a great celebration. Well done. And I also appreciate the city for recognizing our 2020 graduates. I got short end of the stick. So, with the banner, so I appreciate it. Anything else, City Manager?
Mayor, members of council, got an event this week. Please, give Fire Station 2 Thursday night for the wet down. We're going to dedicate Engine 2 and Station 2 and welcome them into service. And, we think we want to renew a tradition that's been fire department for a while. This is the station, this is home. So that's kind of cool. Don't come up to us.
Now, that went down the foot, chief, what?
Well, who's all y'all off, cool you down a little bit. Bring your bathing suit.
And then we have, Independence Day holiday, we celebrate on Monday here for city staff. So we've asked council to move that to the 13th of July for the next meeting. So we'll be 5 weeks before we begin. And then the Conover County Library Board of Trustees, we have a 3-year term, and the municipality that works with the county library has one representative, and our term member is up, and our chance to check. We do have a volunteer willing to serve. If council is okay with that, I'll send that nominee on to Wisconsin, and the community can offer to step up and serve, unless there's another nominee.
I think she did. Did a great job.
There'll be a lot of stories out of that.
Question or fixing nothing, but other than that, I think only meet 4 times a year, so it's not a huge time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to serve on that. That's great.
All that, Suzanne,
And I want to say thank you to the council and staff and the budget. You know, none of the budgets are easy. This one, I think, it's a guideline. As Lee said, we don't know what the future is going to hold, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of amendments, but I do appreciate everybody's patience. Everybody never gets everything they want from the budget, but it's something we've got to do. So, thank you for that, appreciate it.
Would there like,